Yeah, so welcome back. And it says that a faulty character will certainly make faulty choices in life and ruin a potentially beautiful life. What he's trying to say is that if you have a faulty character, you are not just likely, but you are actually going to make faulty choices. Okay, and those faulty choices are going to ruin potentially successful life. So, as in a previous write up, it says that character like tells the choices we make. So, if you have a bad character, a faulty character, sorry, let me just say faulty character. Okay, if you have a faulty character, you are most of the time going to go for the faulty choices, and faulty choices definitely most of the time wouldn't yield good results. So, will ruin your potentially good life. Okay, now the truth is that we are all products of choices that either we have made ourselves over the years or which were made on our behalf by someone else. Yes, very true. It's really true that to say that what we are today is based on the choices we made previously. Now, those choices that were made could actually be made by you or be made by someone else on your behalf. For instance, depending on the kind of profession you are in now, could be based on the choices you made some time ago. That presumes as to like which path you went on and what you have actually become, where it has actually led you to, because a particular road will lead you to a particular destination. So the destination becomes a choice, and if you go for that particular destination road, it leads you to that particular destination. So, and that destination could be made consciously, that choice could be made consciously by your own self, okay, to lead you to that into that same direction, or maybe you are compelled to by someone, or someone else made that decision for you. It could be maybe your parents wanted you to become this, and all of a sudden you went that direction and you became that. So indirectly, it wants us to also know that choices can be made for us and choices can be made by our own selves. So we should be careful how we make choices and how choices are being made for us because they will affect us. Now, um, the development and maintenance of character is a lifelong task. The development and maintenance of character is a lifelong task. An ongoing battle which never ends. An ongoing battle which never ends. Character is so important that no amount of success in life can be substituted for it. Character is so important that no amount of success in life can be substituted for it. Yes, it's true. There was this saying that for the wealthy, give them wealth, okay, and they will make more wealth. For the poor, give them wealth, and they will in turn maybe still become poor. But take away wealth from the rich, like the wealthy, and with time they will still become wealthy. Why? Because they know the process of always making wealth. So what actually makes them wealthy is not the wealth, by the idea, the knowledge, the skill. Okay, and this precept is saying that character is so important that no amount of success in life can be substituted for it. So if you have a character of making wealth, okay, a character that always produces wealth, okay, no amount of wealth can be substituted for it. And for instance, if you are wealthy and you have bad character, you might as well bring down your wealth because of the bad character. And those bad character will be reflected in the choices you make. Maybe making wrong investments, not spending it wisely, not saving, and all those things, like those minor choices would actually bring you down. And no amount of wealth can actually success can replace the character. Okay, so if you are rich and you have a faulty character, you are likely to make faulty choices that are likely to ruin your potentially successful life as well. Now, what you are in the dark, which is not known by the public, is what you really are. What you are known for in the dark, that is what you really are. Because in the previous chapter, in the previous write up, it said that character talks about your true nature, your moral self. Okay, your true nature, and that true nature is reflected when you are in the dark. You are yourself, no one around, and it's different from what you most of the time what you publicly reveal reflects to others. Okay, now that is what God sees and rewards. Okay, God always rewards what is true, the real, like truly you, not the false you. Okay. And hence, we must keep growing in character. I cannot agree more with Jim Collins, the author of Good to Great, when he said character comes out of the determination to do what is right, regardless of the cost. I cannot agree more with Jim Collins, the author of Good to Great, when he said character comes out of the determination to do what is right, regardless of the cost. Okay, the writer is trying to say that he doesn't actually truly, if I get that right, he doesn't actually agree with Jim Collins by saying that you actually get your character with the determination of doing what is right. By this, he's saying that character is the true you, what you are when you are when you are yourself. Okay, and then it has been governed by settled conviction. What you are actually convinced about, like you believe, maybe you have grown to believe from your parents, or you have actually experienced it yourself. But convictions are more or less like things we believe, and most of them are like things that were passed on to us by our parents, what they believed and we believed, and not necessarily based on our personal experiences. But that is what he's trying to say, that it is being governed by settled convictions. So that means we have agreed with those convictions, and instead of momentary expediencies. So that's what he's trying to say, that instead of the experiences of the moment, momentary expediencies, okay, or occurrences. Now it is governed by principles rather than pragmatism, by vision rather than comfort, mission rather than politics, by God's grace rather than your own. I'll take those words again. It says that your character is governed by principles. Yes, very true. To keep your character, you need principles. To be disciplined, to also make sure you are consistent with those character traits that you have, and rather than pragmatism. Okay, and by vision, by rather than comfort. Most of the time, the good characters may not be comfortable to be with, because they presume honesty to be able to gain something right, and it needs really hard work, so it doesn't actually come with comfort, but vision that drives you irrespective of those difficult times. Okay, and then it says mission rather than politics. Mission is mission, and it needs to be accomplished, so you need the right character to accomplish it rather than politics. Okay, we all know what politics is. Okay, all right. By God's grace rather than your own. And it says that it takes the grace of God for you to actually have a good character, rather than maybe thinking it's your own abilities. I think most of the work a lot of the work is to be done by you. Okay, realizing and then starting it. But in likewise manner, you need more of the grace of God to actually have those characters and be consistent with those characters. Okay, and be committed to actually yielding results with those characters. Now, if you ask me what is most deficient in the Ghanaian culture today, the answer is simple: the lack of good character. It shows itself in moral decadence of the youth. Today, abominable deeds are endorsed as a standard for the Ghanaian society. The moral decadence has seeped into every facet of our lives. From the clergy to the politician, the old and the young people have all been affected by the character decadence of our generation. Now, the good news is that in Christ, we have a perfect example and a standard for building an untainted character. To be Christ-like is to have a pure character. The book Hebrews says of Jesus concerning his character that in Hebrews chapter 4 verse 15, and I read, it says that, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way just as we are, yet without sin." That's an excellent example of a character. Tempted in every way, yet without sin. So it tells us that despite circumstances, irrespective of situations, you can still keep your character, your principles, and remain without sin. So Christ has become a standard, an example to us, that once he has become flesh and been like us, he's exposed to the same things that we've been exposed to, and yet without sin. So in likewise manner, we can also emulate him being a standard that has been set for us in Hebrews chapter 4 verse 15. Now, it says that Jesus was tempted in the same way we are also sorry, let me take that again. It says that Jesus was tempted in the same way we also contend with temptation, yet he did not sin. This means that in spite of the greatest pressure on him to compromise and give in to sin, Jesus held on and did what was right. Good character is not just about knowing what is right. Good character is not only about knowing what is right, but also doing what Christ would have done. I think if you're having a problem, okay, of like in anytime you're caught in between situation, like you are faced with situation and you don't know what's right character to exhibit, the right choices to make. The best question to ask yourself is, what would Christ have done in this situation? And it's like it will be a help, like it's a general key in whatever you are doing. Like, I'm hungry, there is food, okay, and the food is not really mine, but I'm hungry and there is food. So for me to actually tell, okay, if I eat it, probably I'll be sustained and I'll be satisfied. Okay, yeah, I'm hungry, but and I don't know whether eating it is the best thing to do or not eating it. So the next question I'll have to ask myself is, what will Christ do in this situation? Now, the first question you should ask you, the next question that should follow is that, is the food yours? Probably means that someone else also needs it. So when you take it, it's stealing and it's a character defect, it's a faulty character and a faulty choice. So that will give you an answer to say no to it. Decline. Probably the person comes back and the person tells you, I wasn't even going to eat it, I was going to give it to you. You see, you have a food to eat. And most of the time there will always be a way out for you. So, but the most important thing is character. It says that character is a process. Okay, you wouldn't have it in just a day. It's consistent work, like each and it doesn't end. That is what it says. So you have to be committed to doing it for you to actually yield results. Okay. Now, keeping one's integrity has become a big issue in the present times when money, power, and sex are easily compromised. Very true. A good character is the foundation upon which all lasting human ventures are established. Okay, any venture that is long lasting is established on a good character, because those good characters need discipline to be executed each and every single time. And continue to say that history has shown that great men who achieved something significant and lasting were men of character. The truth is that without character, nothing is sustainable. True, without character, no one can develop his or her potential to their full. Very true. Nothing worthwhile can be achieved in life without character. Character, if let's say you are an athlete, okay, and you constantly need to work out. If you don't have the right character to be committed, to be consistent, to eat right, to live well, and doing that constantly, and like most of the time it's really hard to work out, even when you are tired, even when you need to get out of bed very early. It's a difficult task, but you actually need a good character to live your potential to the full. So it's just trying to make us understand that for us to fully realize our potentials, we need a good character. We need character, a good one, of course, that will actually guide our rituals, our routines, our habits. Okay, in the era where evolution in technology and access to information is nearing a peak, it is disheartening to notice that people have become more vulnerable to excess of scientific, economic, political, and even social development. So why is poverty and suffering prevalent all around us? The African continent is blessed with so much, and yet there is much poverty in the continent. This is because few people have character and integrity. I think it's trying to say that we have much wealth around us, much resources, yet we are poor because we have lots of people with poor character and integrity to make good use of them and to honestly use those things to the benefit of the nation. That's where the character defect comes in. And the choices of actually not using them right, but rather embezzling them, spending them unwisely, using them selfishly for their own purposes and gains actually leaves us in poverty. Choices, character. Now, the story of Mike Tyson, the youngest heavyweight boxer ever in the history of the world, is a clear illustration of how character plays a significant role in our lives. Mike Tyson won the world heavy belt at a very young age. By the time he was 24 years, he had won every imaginable world title in the heavyweight division of boxing. Now, Tyson has transited from rags to riches within 5 years. All these came to him through hard work, but he had a gaping character defect, which was his temper. Tyson was very temperamental. The problem about him, however, was not about him being temperamental, but his inability to work on his temper. His temperament landed him in prison. He lost his first marriage and lost money and property for the same reason. Tyson's fighting career never quite recovered after his stint in jail. He reportedly earned over $400 million in his career, yet he owed $34 million in debt. By the time he was approaching the end of his career, Tyson is now back to where he started in life, poor, lonely, and ready to fight anyone just for a little money to keep his body and soul together. This is a sad story. I think this precept was actually not purposely to expose Tyson, but like to become an example to each and every one of us that our choices actually really matter, because our choices can turn our potentially successful life into a disruptive life. Okay. Now, in the cases where we realize that Mike Tyson was someone who was very wealthy, like just by 24 years old, like he won unimaginable titles in boxing, and he was really making it out there in life, okay, in fighting, but just some of his choices he made out of his temperament, okay. And the book actually makes us understand that the problem was not with the temperament, okay, like his anger, but the problem was that his inability to work on it, okay, to actually make it to become better. That landed him in prison. And at the end of the day, like initially it was stated that he was earning 400 million, like he had 400 million US dollars, sorry. But at the end of the day, he was indebted about 34 million in debt. So it came to a time when he was approaching his late life in his career, where maybe he has to retire, go on retirement, and really enjoy everything that he has ever worked for, okay. Now he has lost most of the things that he had, okay, so he now has to volunteer to just fight anyone who was available, just to earn little money from that fight. So realize that just that little choice cost him a lot in life. And to the young ones out there, to myself personally, I'm learning so much from this to guide my life, and to both the old and the young, like we all need this to succeed, okay. So I think it's a great example and to us for us to learn from. Now to the next one, it says that unfortunately there are many more Tysons who rose so high in their fields of expertise but lost everything because they lack good character. The church is not exempted. The church is not exempted. One Christian leader after another has crashed, resulting in humiliation of their families and the church in general. And the cause of this can be traced to the flaws in the leader's character. Character is a product of environment and society from which one has grown with all its defects from sin. So this statement is just trying to tell us that our character is based on our society, like our societal influences, and as well like our environmental influences, and in the societies in which we grow up, because our societies to a large extent influence our character. Remember that the first exposure of human beings to the family, okay, and that is the primary socialization, where when you are born into a family, the first contact, like, you get to learn a lot of stuff from your parents because you live with them, you see what they do, and as you are growing up, you virtually don't know much about the current life, so you learn by imitation. Okay, what they do is what you repeat after them to also learn what it is. So, like, by learning from them their character, you also pick upon like those character, and that's the influence of the society, the influence of your environment on you. Okay, so your character can actually be built by your society and environment, although there are personal traits that are within you, like your own natural self, your true self, personality type that you have been born with, but this can be shaped by your societal influences as well. Sorry. um, I hope you are enjoying this book so far, and the session has been so much helpful. And based on this, I would like to have your comments down there, to see what you think. What you agree with, what you disagree with, what you think your experiences are. I would really love you guys to share your experiences with us so that we can actually get to know much. Yeah. Okay, experienced guys out there, even the less experience, even the children can share their experiences with us so much. Like, this is so good to learn from. I'm also learning a lot, so much from this. Okay, that's why I love this show. So always come around to learn. All right. Okay. So let's move on to the next one, which says that character is the product of environment and then the society from which one has grown. With all defects from sin, the defects are from sin. Romans chapter 3 verse 23 state that, for all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. This means that absolutely no one is exempted from the effects of sin on the human race. I'm not exempted from the effects of sin on the human race. I'm also inclusive. And then the question that arises is that, if we are not born perfect, the question that arises is that if we are not born perfect, and that the defect of our character is mostly not our making, okay, as we said earlier on, that our character can be a large extent influenced by our society and our environment. Okay, so if our character defect is not, to a large extent, not our making, but more of the failures of the society, then can we be blamed for our character defects? That's the question they are asking. I repeat the question again so that you can actually grasp what it's trying to say. It's saying that in the previous write-up, it says that our character can be influenced by our society and then our environment. Now, the question they are trying to ask is, if our character is influenced by our society and then environment, okay, then can we be blamed for our character defects as it is the cause of the society? Can we be blamed for our character defects, or the society should be blamed? I don't know what your opinions are, but you can leave your comment, okay, your answers, whatever you think, in the comment section down below. I'll look at them and then, like, we'll reflect on them and we'll see how it goes. All right, this kind of attitude towards one's character defect is defeatist. Okay. Now, it is true that we are shaped mostly by the society and environment we grow in. Yet, we have no excuse if we nurture character defect. I think this is where the whole thing boils down to. Now, the previous question was trying to find out that, is it still, can we be blamed for our character defects or the society? Now, what the book is now trying to say is that, again, is that even if it is the fault of the society, we don't have any excuse for our own selves nurturing it. This is interesting. This is really interesting. Now, my question is, if you don't know it's a character defect and you nurture it, is it still for you to be blamed? If you never knew, if you had no idea, okay, that what you were nurturing was a bad character, maybe your choices are supposed to land you in, like, mistakes, so that you realize that, oh, I made a wrong choice, but it has not yet landed you in any consequences yet at the moment, but you continually nurture it. Will it still be your mistake or the doing of the society or the environment? I think I need your answer down there. Okay. All right, so let's continue. And where are we? In other words, to take such a stand is to say that even though I know it is not right to cheat, lie, or steal, it is not my fault that I do these, so I will do nothing about it. I think the answer is there. He says that even though it is not your fault to cheat, like you grew up with parents who cheat, you grew up with parents in a society where they cheat, they lie, they steal, and you learned those character traits from them, and you felt okay, it was normal. That's the norm of the society. And now the book is saying that once you have like you have you know that it is bad, it is your fault if you continually nurture it to grow, to continue to steal. When maybe you used to rob you without and now you have nurtured it and you've introduced it is your fault then, because you nurtured it and you grew it to even to a larger extent more. So we are responsible for nurturing our character irrespective of the societies in which we grow up. Okay, so if you were born in a society where there's so much violence and you learnt all those things, it says that it is not your fault at the beginning. Okay, it may be that that was what you grew up learning, imitating and learning, but as long as you continue to nurture it and see it to be okay, that's when you fall short and that's where it is your fault. So I am happy just the way I am. I pray that you do not adopt this kind of posture towards the character defect you find in your life, because it cannot help you to overcome it. Sorry. This is an obvious statement that people always make, like I'm happy the way I am. It doesn't really matter what people think about me. Like to a large extent, doesn't it shouldn't really have negative impacts on you, but you shouldn't say you don't really care about what people say. To some extent you should, yes, because some may help you, some are positive feedbacks that will help you the same way some are negative feedbacks as well, but you should really be concerned like in building your own self up, because they gives you a reflection of what you can't see. So someone would see and tell you that something you can't see, the person will see it and tell you. The same way you can also see it in others that they can't see about themselves. Maybe the person has a problem that the person can't see, like virtually feels it's okay, but you from the other side, the other angle sees that no, this person has this is what is wrong, like, and you are the best person to voice it out. So by doing that, you help the person. So it's the same towards us, that sometimes people will say something and then they have what they say really matters at times, okay, but aside the negative ones out there, no, I'm not talking of those ones. Okay, but to a larger extent, in building your own character, you need those things. Not to say that you are okay by, like, you think you are okay by yourself and you don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's something we need to overcome if we are ready. We actually ready to move into the process of character formation. Character is everything. Is still what we are doing, and I'm sure you are learning a lot. And where you have gotten to, you have so many things that are going through your mind now, and trust me, then like the subsequent chapters are so interesting. Like this is just the start. Trust me, by the time we get finished, wow, you are going to thank me for this. And purposely you are going to thank Reverend Prince Sam for this great book, and Prince Action, great book. Character is everything. I think you should get a copy. Okay, I don't really think it's expensive. You should. So it was given to me as a free gift. I think a gift is free. Sorry for my errors. So it was given to me as a gift, okay? And I didn't pay much for it, but I've earned so much just studying it. So it's a great thing. Trust me, it's a great thing. I'm trying to get to where we've gotten to. Yeah, we're on page 6. So the good news is that you can develop your character with the help of God. You can develop